whatever we're emotionally attached to will suffer. Okay, we're going to suffer as human condition. But we can also pay attention to where we're suffering and notice what we're attached to and go, is there any way I could be equally okay with every possible outcome?
Mm.
Now, the thing is, guys get this backwards. They think, well, if I'm not attached to a specific outcome, why would I even get out of bed? Why would I go talk to that woman if I wasn't attached? But here's the deal. That's what's called first order change. And this is something you don't hear talked about much, but to me, it's so profound. We're grad school stuff now. This is what I learned in grad school. First order change is where you do A, hoping to get B, right? So you're attached to B happening. You try to figure out what's the best A to get me to B. So, I want to get laid. So what's the best A to get me to B? And sometimes A can make B happen, but then sometimes it doesn't. And sometimes it happens not like we expected. But we're attached. We want it to happen like this. So we keep trying to adjust A to get B to happen. And it doesn't matter if we're trying to get a girlfriend, trying to get our kids to behave, trying to get our boss to give us a raise, trying to get our wife to want to have sex with us when she hasn't wanted to in 15 years since the kids were born. Whatever that B is, doing more of A is kind of the Einsteinian insanity thing. Doing some more of the same thing, hoping for different results. So first order attempts at change is if I do A, I should get B. But the truth is, the world rarely works like that. It rarely goes along with our mathematical formulas of how to get from A to B. Second order change is where you just fundamentally shift something in the system. And the example that I heard in grad school, and this applies to like me as a therapist, is that, those little the toys over a baby's bed
Mobile.
The mobile.
Yeah.
Used to be the little butterflies and flowers. Yeah. And it's to get the baby's eyes, connecting with their brain and hand-eye coordination. Now you wind them up and they just move. Well, no wonder kids love to be everything pushed to them. They don't have to touch the mobile anymore. The mobile will just turn for them. But if you took the old-fashioned mobile, this had some sticks, some string, some flowers, some butterflies, and if you go up to the mobile, it's above the baby's crib, and you perturbate it. You touch it, you move it, and you get it spinning. The question is, how can you know where it's going to come to rest? And I mean, almost everybody, about 1% of people actually figure it out, but about 99% of people, you can't. Or the engineers, well, if you do a mathematic formula, the truth is, it's actually a simple answer. It will come to rest exactly where it was when you perturbated it, because the system, nothing changed in the system. So wherever it came to rest the last time it was perturbated, it will come to rest exactly the same space, because whatever its balance and gravitational pull is, it will keep being the same. So it doesn't matter how many times you hit it, soft, light, right hand, left hand. If nothing changes in the system, it will still come to rest in the same place. That's first order. Right? I'm going to keep doing A, hoping B would be different, but B keeps ending up being the same. Second order change is maybe you clip off one of the flowers, perturbate it now, you have no idea where it's going to come to rest. It's unknown. Now, once the first time it comes to rest, you now will have an idea the next time where it will. But that first time, you don't know where it's going to come to rest. So that was always my job as a therapist. When a couple would come to me, well, we have this problem. If I bought into their definition of the problem and just took sides with them and tried to get them to do more, that I'm not going to help them at all. But if, for example, I could get them to reframe the problem, like, I'll give you an example. I was leading, back when I was married to my second wife, she became a therapist after we got married, and she had a women's groups. I knew most of the women in the groups because most of their husbands were in my men's groups, or I'd done couples counseling with them. So one time she was out of town, so I was leading her women's group. And this woman was complaining that her husband was so lazy that they were sitting watching TV, and they all had their little TV trays, and they had like a 4-year-old daughter or whatever. And she told her husband, she was bossy, and he was a nice guy. She said, I told him to go get some ketchup for their daughter. So he dutifully goes and gets the ketchup, sets it down on the daughter's tray. And she goes, I was so pissed off at him. I got so mad at him because he's so lazy. He couldn't even put the ketchup on the tray for her. And I just looked at her and I said, could there be other possible explanations? And what's in it? I go, could he was trying to empower your daughter and give her choice and freedom over how much ketchup she had and learn to put her own ketchup on her own French fries? You really don't still want to be putting ketchup on her French fries when she's 17, do you? Well, I said, maybe he wasn't being lazy. Maybe he was actually being thoughtful and encouraging the differentiation of your child. I don't think so. I think he's lazy. So she wanted to hang on to that. So Here's the deal. Anytime we can work at being equally okay with any possible outcome, does the mobile come to rest here? Does it come to rest here? That actually gives us a lot more room to take action and take risks and do new things, because it doesn't matter where it comes to rest. I'm okay with it. If it comes to rest over here, great. If it comes to rest, that gives me a lot more freedom to act. Now, if I'm just wanting to come to rest in the place I want it to, the only option I have to act is this one repetitive action. And if it doesn't work, I tend to quit doing it at all and don't do anything else. So actually, non-attachment, being equally okay with every possible outcome, being outcome agnostic, actually frees us up in life to try a lot of things, because we're not worried about how they're going to come out. We go, I think this would be cool. I'm going to go give it a try. I think that woman's, attractive. I'm going to go talk to her. You just do it, and you're okay if it goes well, and you're okay if it doesn't go well. Now, if you weren't okay with it not going well, i.e. you're attached to one outcome and one outcome only, odds are you won't go talk, just because, oh, what if I don't get the outcome I want? Well, I better not risk it. But if you have no attachment, and maybe you go talk to her and you find out, dumber than a stump. I'm glad I talked to her and found out. I'm glad I didn't go home kicking myself for not talking to her. I'm glad I talked to her. I found out I don't want to hang out with her. So this non-attachment gives us freedom in life to actually live a bigger life, a more spontaneous life, a bolder life, rather than the life that says, well, why do I want to get out of bed today? Well, let's get out of bed today because there's lots of adventures waiting for us and we don't even know what they are yet.